Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Just gonna start a new project this morning. Shouldn't take too awful long, I hope. Y'all remember this, the Arbor press that Staff Sergeant Reuben sent me? Now, I looked all over YouTube and I found some very good videos on how to modify this to make a leather press. I came across a channel, if y'all never watched it, it's Kevin Robinson on YouTube. This guy can do anything. And I think I saw one of his videos a year or so back, working on an aluminum boat, patching aluminum boat. I believe I saw him. And I think somebody mentioned his name to me, but I ran across it, and he's got a series on how to modify one just like this one. And I'm going to do basically the same thing he did, and I'll show you as I go along. With the exception is I don't have a metal lathe where you can cut down and make stuff, but I do have another idea I think I can do with what I've got. Because I even looked at metal lathes online, and you can get the cheapy Harbor Freight that would probably do the job, but I can't justify getting one because I don't think I would use it that much. Maybe I would, but, and plus I don't know how to use one. But maybe that'd be something to look at in the future. But I think I can get this going to where I can do my big leather stamping with this. Now, save a lot of time, I believe. But the first thing we got to do is take the entire thing apart, which is not much to it. Just take all these out. I'm going to take it all apart, lay it out, and then I'll show it to you. First thing it's got to do is it's got to be cleaned very good. Because when I got it, it was packed in basically oilcloth. And I cleaned most of the oil off, but watching the videos, there's a lot of junk up in here that really should come off, especially before I use it on leather, because I don't want any of that junk getting on my leather. Alright, I'll take it apart and show you what it looks like, and then we'll get it cleaned up. Well, there it is, all taken apart. Not really complicated. And inside, that is grit, metal dust. Feels like sand. You don't tell them what it is. It is very, very rough and dirty, but that's okay. Now I'm gonna mix up some degreaser water out in the sink. I've got some water heated on in my little tea kettle. I'm gonna let it soak in degreaser for a few minutes and then clean it up. And then because I can't start doing the modifications on it till I get it fairly clean. I don't like all that oil and grease. See, my hands are already nasty. And we'll get on with it. Shouldn't be too bad, but those are famous last words. Alright, everything's clean, degreased. Now this piece here, which fits on the front, this thing is supposed to sit flush with here. That is so uneven, and there's some kind of shiny film on it. But that's okay. I'm going to put it on the belt sander for just a second, and then polish it and see if I can't flatten that, and I'll do the same thing with this surface here. And I saw another video where a guy at the spring holder that protects the ram, he actually made one out of brass, because the one that his came with was a different, I think it was a different brand than this one. Same basic thing though. His wasn't thick enough or strong enough to keep the ram from slopping around. I think by grinding just a little bit off here and here, that will solve that problem on this one, because it was sort of floppy in there. So I'm going to do that right quick, and I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll start on the modification to the ram. Alright, there's this piece. It's flat, still got some marks, but I didn't want to grind all of those out. That might take it down too thin. Alright, that piece is ready. And this one was felt fairly straight. Might put it back on there on the polisher for just a little bit more and polish that off. But then we will have a flat fitting surface like it's supposed to be. And there's going to be so many clips on this. I'll show you the next modification I'll do, and then I'll show it to you because it'll be loud. This is the ram, this is the top. I'm going to cut the bottom 2 teeth off, which will actually make it a ratcheting type thing where you can adjust the handle. Very cool idea. And I'll put it on the wire wheel also because this is very rough edges. But I'll grind these off with a side grinder and take a file and finish it off. Going pretty well so far. Now I've got the bottom 2 teeth ground out, filed it down, everything's nice and smooth. I put this ram on the wire wheel, smoothed everything up, had sharp edges all over it. Now the easy part is done. Now to modify it to where I can get my leather stamp in there, let me show you one of them. Now this is the one I cut off and converted for the drill press. For that, the first one we tried to make. This has to go in here. Now what Mr. Robinson did was mill this down to 3/8 of an inch and drilled a 3/8 hole here, because this is the primary one I'll be using on this. Now I'm thinking of just drilling the hole this size here, which is, I don't know what size it is, but since this one's already cut off, and sticking it down in there. Before I do that, I'm going to ponder a little bit because I don't want to weaken this thing too much. But at the same time, the only thing I'm going to press with this is leather. I'm not going to be pressing metal and steel and all that, which you could, but let's see. Let me ponder, and I got one more idea, and I'll be back with my decision shortly. Alright, decide what I'm going to do. I'm going to drill it to this size. I'll get my sizer out, see what that is in a minute. I was going to put this on there, and I still may, because this I think is the same size as this. I'll just have to cut it off. Now this is out of an old drill that I've had for years and years. Somebody bought me for birthday, Christmas, something years and years ago, but it was one of those at the time I think was $4.99. It worked, but as soon as you tried to drill anything, even a piece of wood, absolutely no power. And it's been in the bottom cabinet down there for years. So I took this chuck out of it. The only thing with this is I'm afraid the chuck might be too long to get down to put anything else in without cutting off my other smaller stamps, which I don't want to do that. And I don't have a lathe, like I said, to make the smaller parts like Mr. Robinson does. But I wish Uncle Buck wasn't so far away. I bet you he's got one that could make them things. But that's okay. I'll do what I can with what I have. I think it'll work. So I'm going to mark the center. Best I can. Right there. Then I'm going to center punch it, and I'll get the drill press all set up, and we'll drill some holes. I hope. Alright, got everything clamped up in the drill press. Now this is a half inch bit. I'm going to start with a 1/4 inch bit and Get some of the material out. This is a good fresh bit, so it shouldn't be no trouble. And then I'll have to go back with the 1/2 inch. With my marker go. Hang on. Alright, because I don't want to go very deep. It doesn't have to be very deep. I'm going to mark my drill bit. And let's see what we can do. A little bit of oil. Let's see what happens. Hang on. Now we go. Lucky this is not hardened steel. It's cutting pretty good. Down to my line, I think. Yep. Look. How'd that happen? Bit loosened up on me. There we go. Down to my line. Now I'll reset this so it'll fit this longer bit. If I don't have a shorter one, which I don't think I do. And I'll cut the other hole. Now my table on the drill press does not go down far enough to allow for this long bit. So I just blocked it up. It's going to be a little sketchy, I think, but I think I can hold it still. Because this doesn't have to be precision. And I'm not going to town to get another bit, a short one. I'll pick up a set of those sometime later. Just to have for things like this. Now, I've already put some oil on it. Let's see what happens this time. That's hot. Hang on. If I was real smart, I'd put a glove on this hand. I'll show you when I get done. That worked. Didn't burn my hand. Now we have a 1/2 inch hole. Next step, I need to drill a hole in the side for a set screw to hold this in. And I'm going to have to sand this a little bit, it looks like. And now the question is, do I have a set screw? I don't know. I'll have to start looking and see. And we'll get to that here in a little bit. Now I'm going to drill a hole in the side. I did find a set screw in the old last sander that broke down. That's why you don't throw anything away. You can always use parts off of it for something. Now this is a 13/64 bit. And I'm just going to go right through the side, and then I'll tap some threads in there for the screw. I hope. Unless they're metric threads, and I don't have a metric tap set, so we'll see what happens when we get there. Now this should be very quick. Like that. Now we'll take it over here and get the taps out and see what I can do there. Alright, I found a tap that's going to work, I think. I got it started, being very, very careful not to break it. The one that came in the set like this is already broke. This was an extra I'd had. That's another tool I'm going to invest in shortly, is a good tap set with standard and metric thread. Because this one I have is pretty old. I've had it a long time and it served me well, but I broke several of them. And you can see this handle's all rusted, even from being inside the toolbox. And I'm all the way through. Set that aside. Clean that out a little bit. And now we just hope that this set screw fits. And it fits. See if we can get it all the way through. I believe this screw is a metric thread, but if I can get it all the way through a little bit, it'll be okay, because it doesn't have to hold a lot of pressure, just a little bit. Just like that. Let's see if we can see it. I don't know if you can see it down there or not. See where it comes through? It won't come through that much once the little piece goes in there. Alright, good deal. Now I'm going to back it out a good bit and get a little bit of sandpaper and go in there and clean that up just a little bit where the burrs might be on the edge. And we're going to be in business here in a few minutes. Alrighty, I got this. Yes, I can talk. I squared the end of this. Slide right in there. Set screw will hold it in place. Leather stamps will go right on there. Now the only thing this is sticking out a little bit, the set screw, which really needs to be flush. But for right now I'm gonna leave it. I'll come back to that later because I don't want to. I think that's the only one I have, so I don't want to mess it up. We'll see. Alrighty then, we're just about finished. Now there's a bunch of different modifications you can make to these, but for right now this is about what I'm looking for. All back together. Let me show you the idea why I cut those two teeth off. Now this is not my idea. I saw this as a YouTube idea. It actually makes it a ratchet to where you can adjust your leverage point. See there, like there, all your pressure's down here. And there, it's up here. And you just have to get it adjusted to where it's comfortable for what you're going to do. There we go, another tooth. Alright, right there is about right, I think. Now let's get to the fun part. Let's test it. Hang on. Stay right there. Now, I'm not putting that metal table back on it either. I've got another idea for that. So just like in the one video I was watching, it's which way? You're that way. That metal table looks like it is very, very easy to rust. Alright, we'll put the stamp down. Now, it's going to have to be bolted down. And there we have it. Try one more. Let's see. I may have to put a longer bar on here for more pressure. I saw somebody do that too. And bolted down, you can get more pressure. Alright, the flag. Let's see, I'm pressing here. I need to come down just a little bit more. Whoop. There we go, that's what I want right there. Alright, let's try it again. Once you get it set, I can probably leave it like it, however it is. There, now I've got more downward pressure if it was bolted down. Very good, just like that. That was a good project. It only took about 2 hours or so, 2.5 hours. Not bad at all. That will help speed things up on the leather working portion. Now, I know I said it 10 times to him. Staff Sergeant Reuben, thank you, thank you, thank you for that tool. That is a good one. And it will go over on that bench and bolt down somewhere. Maybe today, maybe not. Well, there we go. My version of modifications to the Arbor press to make it a letterpress. If y'all hadn't already, if y'all don't already watch him, go over and watch Kevin Robinson on YouTube. Big channel, great channel, very good. A lot of do-it-yourself. Very smart guy. Thank you for the video, Mr. Robinson, on how to do this. And those other mods you made to yours, I'll probably do this to my same thing to mine eventually. But for right now, this is what I need. Alright, thank y'all for watching. Thank you for your support. It's time. Merry Christmas. And I'll see y'all later.